Yeah. SMT Nation, what a... Man, it has been too long. Maximus, what up? Max, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, sir. Or not. RIP to Max. What is up, good people? I do see some of you guys in the live chat. Salute to you. I see my brother Ciprioni in the house. Bart, what up? Joe, what up? Sam, what up? MS, what up? Salute. Salute to the wrenches. Salute to the members, my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys for all that you do, making the content on this channel possible. Fernando, shout out to you. Good to see you guys here. On your way in, please do rate this video, give it a like, and share it to all your socials, friends and family. Let them know what we're doing here on the channel. Bringing value to the telco space. We'll see if we can get Max back in here. We lost him, it looks like. I don't know if he's going to come back in. We will, in all likelihood, have a couple of folks on the panel today. They'll be coming in momentarily, kind of as the show goes on. But because I am tight on the schedule tonight, got to get started right away. What up, Daniel? Yeah, we got some good news for sure. Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and get things started first with the press release. For those of you that aren't hip to the news, we got you covered. We're going to go through everything today. So I'll go through quickly all the basics of the quarter, and then we'll get into the nuanced stuff that can be obviously discussed and, you know, stuff like that. Katsuni. I hope I said that right. Cheers. All right. Here's the impression I get from the Verizon quarter. I get the impression the strength was in the financials, right? They guided up on revenues, free cash flows, earnings per share, right? So they guided up on the financial stuff. Iceberg, what up? The actual like operating stuff. So we're talking about like gross ads. Those were up. Prepaid is looking good. Broadband is strong. Business kind of soft. Not negative, but a little bit less than the typical stellar Verizon, right? Wholesale revenues down a little bit. Prepaid churn flat year over year, quarter over quarter, that kind of thing. They're promotionally active. They're growing. Like there's some really good things. But then you have like the consumer business, which, Verizon's making it pretty clear quarter in, quarter out. Like they don't want to grow at all costs. Like the cost matters. Customer acquisition matters. So they are perfectly fine not adding 100,000 customers. They don't want to do that. They don't want to add 100,000 customers if it's going to be an expensive way of acquiring those customers. And I think that point has to be driven home tonight. The prepaid business looks good. The broadband business looks good. I mean, there are some seriously strong results here within this quarter. And then there's some things that we can point to and say that probably has to be addressed. Like, for example, the postpaid phone churn. There is a possibility that Verizon comes in third out of 3. That could happen. But what is not going to happen is Verizon coming in third in the revenues. They already know that they're going to have top revenues in the industry. They already know, right? They have the most customers. They have the highest ARPU. It's how it goes, So you're going to hear a lot of that from us on the panel today, speaking to the strength of the financials and then speaking to the selective nature by which Verizon is going to choose to grow. They just don't want to go broke chasing growth at all costs. There is a cost, right? And I think Hans spoke to that, and I think Tony spoke to that. They want customers, but they can't just take customers, if they're going to be very expensive to acquire. So, yeah, we're going to cover everything for you guys. So, B, what up, man?
What's going on, Sneed? How you doing, man?
Excellent, man. We're kind of getting started here with the Q2 2025 highlights for VZ. And the strength was in the financials. Very, very clear to see that part. They guided up on free cash flows, revenue, and earnings per share. So the stock popped, 4 or 5% today on the news, right? So everything good there. Broadband looks good too. Let's take a look at some of those metrics before we get into like the Q&A session. All right, so we got 293,000 broadband net adds. 278 of those are FWA customers, 5G home internet. We now have 5.1 million subscribers in that side of the business, tracking for the 8 to 9 million by 2028. Shouldn't be a problem. Total connections are approaching 13 million. That number has grown 12.2% year over year. And then the Fios footprint will continue to expand. They're going to get 650,000 new passings the rest of the year. So that's exciting. Consumer service revenues were up 2.3% year over year, likely due to the pricing action. Retail postpaid churn on the phone net adds, or retail postpaid phone churn, was 0.90. That's something we're going to discuss to kind of see where AT&T and T-Mobile fall into that place. ARPA is at $147.50. We can track that against AT&T and T-Mobile as well when they report. 51,000 losses in postpaid phone. 50,000 net gained in prepaid. And I think that's it there. Business added 65,000 postpaid phone. Or no, excuse me, 42,000 postpaid phone. Churn rate there was 1.26. So the consumer postpaid phone churn is up year over year, as it is for business. So I was thinking to myself, right? Everything financially looks good. Service revenues look good. CapEx is in line with what they projected. A lot of stuff looks solid. It's the conversation that we can now have about where Verizon may end up in regards to the competition. So like we're going to get the results from AT&T before open on Wednesday, and then T-Mobile after close on Wednesday. So the magic number for Verizon, 0.90. Where's AT&T going to end up? Where is T-Mobile going to end up? We're gonna find out. B, give me your take. What were the strengths? What were the good things that you saw from the VZ report today? And was there anything that you thought maybe could use some improvement in the coming quarters?
I think churn is always a focus for Verizon, trying to make sure that they can keep the customers that they have. I think you hit the nail on the head. Listening to Hans and listening to Sampath and the rest of the leadership today, I don't think they want to grow at all costs. The cost of acquisition is more and more expensive every year. Thanks a lot, T-Mobile. So that's what they're, I guess, tasked with trying to mitigate as much as they can, or trying to address. You want to have the growth, and I think, according to what they were saying, the gross ads looked very good, but the cost of acquisition, the cost of retention is high right now, because there's a perception of, hey, what's value? Can I get a better price? Whatever the case may be, people are shopping around. It is what it is. It's just the name of the game. So I think churn is probably going to be elevated across the industry. Everybody's going to probably go up a few basis points. That's just the way it is. But I mean, that said, Verizon's been saying this for years. Their focus is on financials. Hans said it years ago, how he wants his company to be graded, and that's on free cash flow, EBITDA, and EPS. So, they grew in all that. They got it up on all of that, and the stock like what they hear. Despite challenges as far as phone net ads and all that kind of stuff, which is important, it was still a year-over-year improvement from what they were able to deliver last year. So I think they're headed in the right direction, but the stuff that they really want to nail and they really want to hit on, it looks like they did. They grew in broadband, continue to take some healthy share in that particular space, both in Fios and in mobility with FWA. Then they got this whole Frontier thing that they're working right now. So that's only more open for sale. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Verizon's overall value proposition is healthy. They'll be fine. They'll continue to be formidable, and customers will consider them. So they'll be fine.
Maximus, what's going on, sir?
What's good, Sneed? It's been a while.
Yeah, good to have you, man. So we're talking VZ's quarter. I don't know if you caught any of the numbers or if you looked at the report or watched my videos. What are you seeing from him, man? What do you like? What do you think maybe needs a little attention?
Well, I like a lot of the improvements happening to Verizon. We're seeing lower churn. We're seeing higher ads. Sneed, maybe you mentioned this and I missed it. A while ago, you mentioned that Verizon's overall number of accounts kept decreasing. Is that still the case? Is it still going down? Is it about the same, or is it increasing?
They stopped reporting it.
Okay, so that's not a good sign. That's never a good sign.
I was thinking the same thing.
But to B's point about the customer acquisition cost, Verizon has been the most aggressive they've ever been, like over the past few months. Like they were doing $25 a line for 4 lines plus 4 iPhone 16 Pros included for free. Like they're 100% losing money on that because those phones cost more than $25 a month. So they are absolutely taking losses and going crazy and over the top to get those account numbers up. It looks like a couple months ago they were doing that $25 a line deal with the iPhones included, and then there was the iPhone, the iPad, and the Apple Watch all for free on the cheapest plan for new and existing customers. Here's the deal they did a few months back in March. So we are definitely seeing more aggressive competition from them with respect to the promotions and getting customers in the door. And I think that's good that they're competing, because that's a net positive for the consumers. It just shows that, they have to pick up the pace. And then also with this Project 624 that Sampath was teasing and then they eventually launched, this was a really, really good improvement from Verizon in one of the biggest pain points that their customers had, which was customer support. Now they're doing 24/7. Now they're doing, what else do we have here? Like some other improvements to the customer support, expanded hours, more stores. You can literally email Sampath yourself if you've got a problem, and he'll listen to you and he'll try to make it right. And I really appreciate that because we've talked before about how Verizon has had all types of different people coming and going as far as their executives and as far as the people in charge. I think the people they've got now are doing a really good job, making a commitment to doing better. And I think some of that is showing in the results.
Good stuff, Max. So I listened to the 56-minute earnings call, so you guys don't have to, and I plucked out everything that I could that I thought that was important. You guys ready for some of these quotes and some of these statements?
Let's do it.
All right. So from Hans and Tony, there was no Sampath there today. Here are some quotes from Hans. Quote, "Our strategy is working." Another quote, "We have the nation's best network." A third quote, "C-band is ahead of schedule." I think he said that 80 to 90% of the planned sites for C-band have already been or will be completed by the end of this year, right? And then they said all of these sites are virtually SA 5G capable. He went on to say that fiber, that build is ahead of plan as well. He also said that AI is going to help address their churn rate. I don't know how that works, but he did say that. Verizon very frequently was mentioning value during the earnings call, very reminiscent of what T-Mobile has been pushing for the last several quarters. Some of the quotes around some of that context was, "We want high-quality customers. We're not willing to overpay for growth." He said prepaid, business, consumer, postpaid. We added 14,000 subscribers. They are now including every business segment as one metric. So business, consumer, prepaid. They added 14,000. That's what they're doing now, right? So they don't even care if it's a prepaid or a postpaid customer anymore. So they told us that growth doesn't matter or they're not interested in it, but now they're counting the prepaid against the consumer and the business.
That's pretty telling about again, that metric we were just talking about, because of course their value segment's going to be growing because total wireless is competitive now, and they're actually making an effort to be competitive. And a couple months back, we were talking about how the bleeding was stopping with the port outs and the people leaving and the churn.
Well, remember what Hans said a couple of quarters ago? He said, we'll take from this side of the business to grow this other one.
Yeah. Well,
he did say that. So like it all is kind of lining up to what he said.
No, yeah. Well, what I'm saying is it's easier to grow that side of the business when you're offering a genuinely better value product for the customer. And so you're just going to bundle all those numbers together. What?
That side's more competitive.
Of course. Oh, absolutely. And so I think they know that. This is proof of them recognizing that. And so they're not even, because at this point it's super hard to grow the postpaid and the expensive side of things. And they tried with the crazy flashy promos where they literally lose money and still showing to not work for them. So that's pretty telling about where people are moving to, what people are preferring.
Listen to this, Max. Prepaid can contribute to the business positively now. He said that they have enough ARPU to where it's actually going to be contributing to the bottom line.
I always got told by a certain someone that wasn't the case.
Well, it wasn't the case before, but it is now.
Well, now they're competitive. They used to not be competitive with it at all, and part of that has to do with their strategy.
Who said that, Matt?
Who said that?
Yeah, who said that?
I think you already know. But anyway,
no, that's why I asked the question. I don't know who said it. Was it you, Sneed?
I think it was you, bro.
No, it wasn't me. I challenge anyone to pull the tape and let's talk about it, because I'm telling you, I didn't say that.
What?
I said that prepaid is not as profitable as postpaid, right, but it's definitely possible for prepaid to contribute to top line revenue growth, which is what leadership said.
It wasn't before, right? Yeah,
like it wasn't making any money before, and now it is, and that's a good thing. Nobody's like, I don't think anybody's against prepaid. I know I'm not. Let me speak for me. I'm not against prepaid. I just said it's not as profitable as postpaid, but I'm glad to hear that it's contributing to top line revenue for those who are stakeholders that are in Verizon, the customer, the shareholder, the employee, whoever, all those people.
Well, I think as far as new customer ads are concerned, I think they're making more money off the value side right now because they're not gaining much on the postpaid side.
Not true. There's no way that can be mathematically possible. Like Max, all due respect, you mean to tell me prepaid's the reason why they grew financials the way that they did this year or this quarter? That can't possibly be true. So it had nothing to do with postpaid. Come on, man. Like I respect where you're coming from. We all have to give credit to prepaid, myself included. Like leadership said, I don't work. Hey, they're the ones who said it. I'm not the CEO. They're the ones who said, hey, prepaid is contributing to top line revenue growth. That's great. But you mean to tell me postpaid isn't contributing either?
Well, it's contributing a lot less. I mean, they have to be
Come on.
so desperate about it now, and it's still not even working for them.
Man,
I
what do you
mean,
mean a lot
they were
less, bro?
they were a little more. They were a little desperate in prepaid as well. So prepaid had some good promotions too, and those promotions are starting to roll back a little bit,
But
which is a good
Verizon's
thing. And they're still growing despite the slight rollback. It's competitive. Like that's a good thing. You don't have to give away the house in order to attain the customer. I don't think that's a bad thing.
All right, let's do some more. Let's do some more here. Total Wireless has a 14% upgrade rate. Fixed wireless access demand remains strong. Fios has highest customer satisfaction rate, low churn rate, high ARPU, but they didn't want to give us any numbers on any of that stuff. You got to love the telco CEOs. Just say things and never give us the numbers. 15 million or 50 million perks by year's end. They're saying that those revenues are up, the margins are up, and it's contributing to their total revenue. So another booster. So prepaid's profitable now, and the perks are starting to pick up in pace. The voluntary separation program is complete, so that cost-cutting measure is going to start showing its benefits the rest of the year. Churn rate, they said, was a direct correlation to the price ups that they had in the first quarter. They're saying that the industry's churn is going to be up. So I think Hans dropped a gem on us there. He's basically saying both T-Mobile and AT&T are likely going to have elevated churn compared to the last year's quarter, right? So Verizon saw it this year compared to last year. So that tells me that AT&T is probably going to be in the .8s, and T-Mobile could also be in the .8s, but probably in the upper part, maybe in the low 9s. So
where's
we'll have to
AT&T usually?
Well, last quarter or last Q2, Verizon was .79.
Okay.
AT&T was like .74 or something,
Oh,
like super low. And then I think T-Mobile was third. There's a chance that Verizon could be the highest this quarter. We'll have to see where T-Mobile goes at because I don't think it's going to be AT&T.
Nope.
I think it's going to be either Verizon at .90 or T-Mobile at like .93.
And yeah, I think T-Mobile will be like .93. I think they'll be third again because I think they have customers who are angry at them too.
They
Because
do.
they're not giving away chicken anymore, Sneed. and so because of that, we can't necessarily say that Verizon's the only one pulling back. They're
Yeah.
not. They're not. T-Mobile is too. And so if they come up, if they end up reporting .9 whatever, like man, I don't think Verizon will necessarily be disappointed.
Well, I think
The
it kind of
.9.
confirms what you projected could happen to the industry a couple years ago. You said, there's going to come a point where T-Mobile is going to be moving different and they're not going to really have an option. Right? So and that could be happening kind of in front of us over the last 2 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, you can't give away chicken forever, man. Eventually, you got to try to make money, especially when you're trading at over $200. I mean, that's a huge amount of money. You got to return back to your shareholders.
So check this out, B. This continues to be pushed, right? Where C-band is, we have lower churn. But their churn rate's like high for a quarter too. So every quarter they add more C-band, but their churn is elevated. So at some point, I think an investor has to say, how do you guys get away with saying that? How do I reconcile this? So does that mean that the churn in a place where it doesn't have a lot of C-band is like 1.50?
I'm sorry, Sheet. I apologize. Would you repeat that again, please?
So the statement continues to get, pushed by Hans and the team. They keep saying wherever the C-band is, we have lower churn rates. So if their churn is .90 and it's up year over year, but they've got the most C-band ever on the network, well, that must mean in the places where they don't have C-band, the churn's like 1.50.
Oh,
I don't know if it's that high, but I mean,
You get what I'm saying, though?
it's probably elevated. I mean, if they're not finished their build, then it makes sense. Like we'll evaluate this again next year, for example, when they get closer
Sure.
to being where they want to be. I think they reported that their goal this year was to be 80 to 90% complete with their C-band build for the sites that are supposed to get it. And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're like right around 80%. So they only got like 10% more to do in order to be finished with their goal for this year. I imagine they'll probably get there. They're halfway through the year. They'll probably exceed that number. So, I mean, I think they'll be fine. If churn doesn't, de-escalate from here, then we can have another conversation.
Mhm.
But there's no reason to believe a better overall network product in more places is going to lead to elevated churn or even churn that stays where it is. I mean, you got to think if people are happy with the network performance and the pricing is halfway competitive, what
Not really.
incentive would they have to shop around? Like you got to be pissed off to shop around, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I think they'll be fine.
or maybe you don't have to be pissed off. Maybe you just have to be thinking, or maybe you have to see something. You have to be like, oh, maybe I could get something better on this carrier, or maybe the grass is greener somewhere else, or maybe I can save half the price and get a similar or same quality of experience. When I see industry-wide elevated churn like I am now, I'm thinking, I like how this is looking, because people are actively looking for new options and finding something that works better for them.
I mean, I think that's true. I just don't think that it would lead to elevated churn or churn that necessarily stays where it is. Most people in the country aren't looking around unless they're dissatisfied. Like there has to be something that sparks their willingness to move around, because it takes energy, it takes effort to do that kind of stuff. People aren't looking, oh, I'm off work, let me go shop for phone service. No, people not doing that. So,
Yeah.
if their pricing is reasonable and consistent, and the network performance is acceptable in places they frequent, there's not really a catalyst to keep people moving around or looking around. So, I mean, we'll see. I could be wrong, but from what I know about the America that I've lived in for all these years, if they're happy, they're going to eat their chicken and go to sleep.
That to some extent, I agree with that. I think people are looking around actively more than they used to. But here's something I'll say about AT&T. You are not going to get a consistent bill if you are a AT&T customer. Sneed, do you want to share what I put on there?
I got you.
Because I'm about to do my AT&T review. I've been testing them for about 3 months. And like, this is one of the reasons I could never daily drive a postpaid plan. This happens more with AT&T than any other, but I also have T-Mobile postpaid right now. And so it's kind of just as bad, but not as severe. It's like every month you get a different bill. They can't decide one price to charge you. Sometimes they feel like applying a certain credit. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they'll add a different fee that you didn't know about. Sometimes your bill is going to be $150. Sometimes it's going to be $187. It's like you never know.
Yeah, it's tough. By the way, Verizon's ARPU postpaid consumer is down, but the ARPA is up.
Who cares? I mean, so what? I mean,
Well, it's an interesting metric. We're just tracking it, right?
yeah, like I mean, but what does that indicate? So what does that mean?
Well, like we're moving towards accounts that have more less accounts that have more lines instead of more accounts with less lines.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much people are just like consolidating accounts. That like, how does that?
But they got less accounts.
So what? I mean, but so if I got a business and I know that it costs money to service accounts, I'm not necessarily mad about less accounts as long as I'm not losing paying customers. So if I say, for example, on any given account, the maximum you can have on account is, I don't know, 12 lines.
And last year, the average that I had was 8, and now it's 11. I didn't lose any customers. All the customer did was consolidate. It's the best thing for their pocket, so it's a win-win situation. And then the company doesn't have to service larger numbers of accounts for the same or less money. I don't know. It seems like nitpicking to me, but again, I personally think Verizon just gives away too much information to begin with anyway. I mean, report what everybody else is reporting. Nobody else is breaking down consumer business. No, they're just telling you what they grew, telling you what they lost, telling you the churn. That's it. Like, stop trying to grandstand. Just give the information that the rest of the industry is given and be done with it, instead of exposing yourself with a bunch of information that people are going to spend time nitpicking on. I mean, what are we talking about right now? It doesn't make sense to me. Well, just my opinion. Just my opinion.
Yeah, there was a question about free lines contributing to the growth. I think Hans said it was insignificant. He did mention that, basically the industry was slowing down. He said there's less new customers. And then when asked about the network, this was really interesting. I never heard Hans say this because this was the old Verizon. They preferred to build over buy when it comes to spectrum. So he feels comfortable with the C-band, bandwidth depth that they have, and he's basically saying we're just going to build it. They'll be involved with auctions when they see fit, and they're excited about auctions in the future, but it's not something that is, burning a hole in their wallet, that they have to go out and spend money directly. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That makes a lot of sense, and it really is interesting, Sneed. I don't think I would take a different approach if it was me. Think about it again. Put your business hat on. If I just spent $50+ billion on the last bit of spectrum,
yeah,
I'm not running back to the grocery store to get more chicken either. Like, we're gonna eat these leftovers. We're gonna eat these leftovers until there's nothing else on the phone. Literally,
you got wings, you got thighs, you got drumsticks. We gotta do it all.
Use every part.
Yeah, I mean, that's just I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to say it's the wrong decision, right? Because if you look at the historical spectrum holdings Verizon's had, they've never been the leader in spectrum. In the LTE days, AT&T had more spectrum in a lot of places than Verizon did. Verizon still won because they built. So this is a winning strategy for them. They're just going to build more access points. They got more spectrum than they ever have had before, and they got the CapEx. Go build. I'm with it.
Mm-hmm. It appears that the tax reform is what's giving Verizon the additional free cash flows and the revenue support, like them guiding up from the bottom line, or I should say from the floor. So increasing the keeping CapEx the same, increasing free cash flow guidance, total revenue guidance, and then the earnings per share guidance. Everything guided up because of that extra $2 billion out of that tax reform. It was huge. Corporate actions are going to be receiving the greatest benefit from what I could tell from Hans. They're not going to dump additional money into the network. They've got a disciplined CapEx. They're going to stay there. I think what they're going to do is they're going to take a little bit to pay down some debt. They're going to take a little bit to pay the dividends. They're going to take a little bit to, whatever. But they're not. They're going to stay disciplined in what they've planned for the network as it is. So they're just going to use this kind of as a corporate action dollars. The Frontier deal is on schedule to close early 26. They'll give us updates in a few months, so I'm wondering if maybe that's the next earnings call. We'll wait and see. They're basically just working with state utilities to finalize those deals. They indicated that they had public sector losses. They're saying that those things will be better by the end of the year. Fixed wireless access had some seasonal impacts. So maybe that means just slightly less growth because of seasonal, but could pick up probably through the rest of this year. I think they said that it'll improve in the second half. Someone asked about the MDU solution. We have heard nothing on this. Verizon has been mum's the word. They haven't given us any clarity. They did mention that they're scaling slowly. They want it to be ready. They want it to be good. They're seeing it more of a 2026 project. So it's been now pushed back from 25 to 26 when we'd see it start to scale. So nothing to report there, guys. I know you're all interested, but I don't know what to tell you. Gross ads are up at VZ, but the losses seem heavy. Price ups, according to Verizon, the retail the retail channels are selling. Their Verizon's focus continues to be retention, loyalty. Got to address the churn rate at .90. I think it was Hans who said that churn in broadband is very low. But again, no numbers given, so we can't really compare it to any other quarter or year. But then he said, this is really interesting from Hans. Quote, "We address customer acquisition costs weekly." And he said the same about retention. And he referred to their budget for acquisitions as a dynamic budget. They're meeting very regularly on customer acquisition cost and retention. That to me sounds kind of crazy. I did not know they were meeting that frequently.
Good. Well, I think that's kind of related to what I talked about earlier with them being so desperate with the offers. Whether it's a family $25 a line iPhone deal where they literally lose money, or whether it's a free line for existing customers, or whether that's the iPhone, the iPad, and the Apple Watch deal, whatever deal they're cooking up, they've been crazy with deals like that. And most of the time, they're probably not profiting. So I think they're just deciding how much are we willing to lose to get these customers. And then their strategy is like keep the customers with all these retention things that they're doing.
I think Max is right. It's a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody can say Verizon's resting on their laurels. They're being aggressive. They're out there. They're selling. They're promoting. They're advertising this stuff, and it's available, and it seems to be working. The fact that they're offering these things and still able to purport, such healthy earnings growth means that somebody out there has got to be taking these premium plans. Somebody's got to be moving up the stack, even on the prepaid basis. Everybody's not getting the cheapest prepaid plan. There's got to be somebody out there getting those $60 plan at total.
No, they said that they felt pretty good about the premium prepaid customer.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, Sneed, you have been the champion of this since day one of me meeting you. People will pay for high quality. That's the truth, and it's clear and evident. It's not like Verizon's losing customers in droves. They're not. I mean, this is not the year 2022. 2022 was the worst year they've had. Okay, this is not that year. They seem to be improving.
Yeah.
They're giving the customer what they're looking for. They've locked in the price for 3 years on the wireless. On the Fios side of the house, they locked it in for 5 years.
Yes.
You're getting all this. Say again?
Oh, I'm just commenting on that price lock being BS. Verizon's price lock is just as fake as T-Mobile's.
I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, what?
Well, here, I'll show you what I mean.
Oh, let me get to these super chats real quick, Max, while you prep. Shout out to Dusty, who broke the seal with the first super chat tonight. Salute, Dusty. He said, curious to see how the U.S. cellular spectrum Verizon is getting will affect N5 deployment. Also, using Google Play money for this chat, so it costs me nothing. All right, Dusty, cool. The thing about the U.S. cellular piece, we're probably not far. I would say like maybe by the end of the year, right? Where we may get some progress on those additional swaths of bandwidth. So that should be coming pretty soon. And shout out to Gene. Appreciate you, Gene. Thanks for the super chat, man. Salute. All right, Max, let's get you going here. What do you got for me, buddy?
Well, just to B's point about the price lock, it's just as fake as T-Mobile's, because right here it says price guarantee applies to base monthly rate only. And if you know anything about Verizon, you know they charge extra fees, and sometimes they'll invent new ones. And so maybe your bill is $82.53 this month, but next month it might be $84.67. That's not a price lock. The price went up.
That doesn't even begin to make sense. They can't control taxes. Come on.
But they invent new fees. They invented an economic adjustment fee in 2020.
That was 3 years ago. When's the last time they've done that? That was 3. So you're going to hold them accountable for what they did? What did you do when you were 3? Did you ever knock a bottle over or something? Like, come on, what are we talking about right now?
Max, what'd you do when you were 3, bro? Go ahead.
Like, this is stupid, man. Like, come on. Listen, man.
All I'm saying is it's a fake price guarantee.
It's not. You're asking. So what? They're supposed to absorb the price of taxes too?
No. What I'm saying is
he's got a $2 billion tax reform break, bro.
Yeah.
Million.
I mean, that's what the American people are the ones who voted in, the people who decided to initiate that stuff.
How you gonna like raise
So,
taxes and fees when you
every-
just got a $2 billion stimulus?
Every time
But the
I talk about this,
companies
it's always
don't. The
the American
companies don't
people.
raise the taxes. The companies don't even raise all of the fees.
Sometimes they do.
If you look at you're right, but it's not always the company. If you look at the universal fee, that's charged. That's
All right.
based on what the government charges the company.
Well,
So they're supposed to absorb that too.
Well, hold on. Sometimes they'll make up a fee and they'll name it something official sounding. They'll name it as if it's a government fee, but then it's actually not. They actually just made it up.
Give me an example outside of the economic adjustment. Is that the only? That's the only one from 3 years ago.
No. The telco recovery fee, and other carriers charge
that's
it too.
That's the same one. That's the same one.
It's not a government fee. No, it's not. The telco recovery fee. It's like $3.49.
That's the same one that we're talking about right now. It's the same one.
No, it's different. B. Listen, all I'm saying is, regardless of whether it's the government's fault or if it's Verizon's fault or if it's the American people's fault, the bill could go up under this price guarantee. So then they shouldn't advertise a price guarantee. And like, if you go to the Total website, their plans include taxes and fees in the rates they advertise, and their price guarantee includes taxes and fees. So the exact $25 or $50 or $60 or whatever it is locked in for 5 years. Not the case on the postpaid side or with T-Mobile or with whatever. Well, anything that charges taxes extra.
So be it. Okay. I mean, I respectfully disagree.
Hold on. Like you just fought me on this, and then I proved you wrong. You're like, so be it.
Nope, I disagree. I don't think you proved anything at all other than you're nitpicking. But at the same time, to that point,
nitpick, bro.
Yeah, you're right, and that's what's frustrating. But it is what it is. It's fine. At the end of the day, these are things that T-Mobile has been allowed to do, and they've continued to grow.
Well, I think
if it was good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Like, hey man, listen, I don't make the rules. I'm just a guy. I don't run any of these companies. I'm just a guy. And what I will say, T-Mobile has been doing this, and they've been growing. AT&T has been changing and who are the growers of the industry? So don't talk to me about customers getting screwed, because where have the customers been running to? The growers in the industry.
The place that screws them the least often.
Say that again?
They try to go to the place that screws them the least often.
Oh, so T-Mobile screws them the least often?
Oh, no, I'm saying they try to go to a place where they get screwed less.
So T-Mobile and AT&T screw them less? Is that what you're saying?
If they're switching to AT&T, then they believe they're getting screwed less there.
Right.
Okay. So then if T-Mobile is doing the exact same thing that Max just insinuated that Verizon is doing,
right? They're both equally as bad.
As long as it works, who cares, right?
Well, no, because this is an important distinction to make. Not every person knows every little thing that goes on inside of the carriers. They're not enthusiasts like us. We know what's going on. Millions of Americans are not expected to know all this stuff. It happens in secrecy. It happens, under the table where they kind of don't notice.
They get a bill every month and explains all that stuff right there. What do you mean? Now, if they don't read it, that's up to them. That's their right. But it's explained every 30 days. Like, it's right there on the bill. It's itemized.
Okay, but what if they're promised a 3-year price lock guarantee and then their bill is $4 higher the next month?
It says right there. You just said this. You have it like right there. You zeroed in on it. Like, what are we talking about? It's right there, Max. Because it's right there, dude. Like, right there.
They shouldn't be allowed to advertise that.
They shouldn't be allowed to tell you the truth. Like, it says it right there. It literally says it right. It's highlighted.
That's a 0.01 size font, big letters, 3-year price lock.
And you easily negated that by zooming in, did you not?
Okay.
What are you 55? I mean, come on, you can't even drive yet. You figured it out.
What do you mean I can't even drive
right now? Like, what are we talking about? I mean, come on. I'm sorry. You go ahead and continue and finish, man. My bad. I'm sorry. My bad.
Do you think when someone goes into the Verizon store, the rep's going to tell them, oh, yeah, but that only applies to the base rate? No, they're just going to be like, yeah, we guarantee your price for 3 years. And they're going to be like, oh, cool.
Is it working?
Yeah, well, maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I mean, maybe it's not. I mean, we're seeing less accounts.
I mean, is T-Mobile doing the same thing? Do they have a price lock? Are they doing the same thing?
Both Verizon and T-Mobile are doing this equally as bad.
So how do you judge
the success of a promotion or the success of a company. Like, these are publicly traded companies, so we get access to their books every 90 days. And of course, the customer interacts with these companies at least once a month. So the customer will tell us with their pocket whether they approve based on whether they continue to pay the bill or not. Is that a fair assumption? Like, can I assert that? Is that okay?
I think there's a little bit of nuance to it because sometimes people don't know every little thing that goes on.
Okay. Well,
and sometimes it's out of their control.
How is it out of their control, Max? They control their credit card. They control their debit card.
Well, no, because if they add a new fee or if the price goes up and then they're locked into a 36-month agreement with their phone, then they can't leave unless they pay the phone off.
What carrier isn't paying off phones? What carrier doesn't offer that? Sneed, am I wrong? Is that not a thing? People aren't paying off phones?
When you go to T-Mobile and they pay your phone off, now you got to stay with T-Mobile for 24 months. Like it's a never.
Or you can pay the phone in full. You don't have to do that. I mean, you can pay for the phone outright if you want to.
And how many people are doing that?
I don't know. I mean, you tell me, Max. You're the one that tells me, hey, all you got to do is just pay for the phone. I mean, that's your thing. I'm on your side on this, right?
Well, my thing is that I think people should choose more affordable options that still include everything they need, and get whatever deal on the phone works. I'm not siding with one specific carrier or one specific type of service. I'm just siding with whatever is like objectively the best.
I mean, but everybody's offering everything, right? I mean, people got prepaid, postpaid. Everybody's offering that. So I guess the customer will decide. Right now, there's more postpaid than prepaid. I guess people are happy. I don't know. All I can look at is the hard data. It doesn't look like everybody in the industry is just bleeding customers all over the floor. I mean, churn is at historic lows across the entire industry. That leads me to believe I should be able to reasonably assert, based on that people are reasonably happy with their phone service.
Sure.
Now, are there people who are still leaving? Yes.
We just talked about how churn is going up across all three providers.
Yes, I said historic lows. Like historically,
I would say
this is as good as it's been.
Coming off of so far this year, last year, it's generally been pretty low collectively. Like nobody's having more than we're not seeing like T-Mobile at 1.0 or higher anymore. You know what I'm saying? We're not seeing that.
It used to be really, really bad. Really bad.
Really high. Like that stuff's all done and over with, right? Now they're all like,
well, of course, Sprint was high.
Yeah, it was really bad.
T-Mobile was high too. T-Mobile was high too.
Well, yeah, both of them were bad. That's because both of them used to suck.
All right, guys, let me get to the super chats, please. Raging Dusty with the 2-bone. Verizon has the best network, but worse customer service. Pretty well documented. We've seen the struggles with that. That would explain why they're addressing it with Project 624 and trying to fix some of those things. Also, another super chat, this one from Green. Salute, Green. He said, how much of a game changer will it be for the big three to get the spectrum? How should the spectrum be divided between the big three?
I got an answer for this.
Good question. Good question. Go ahead, Max.
Unlike with US Cellular, who really doesn't have much potential for the future, I don't see Boost going out of business and then all their assets getting divided up into lots for different companies. I see them getting acquired by private equity.
And then just continuing to operate?
Yeah. And I mean, this isn't as crazy as it sounds because like TPG was stupid enough to buy DirecTV, a failing satellite TV company. So someone's going to buy it. I feel like someone would buy Boost Mobile. And think about how attractive that would look for a private equity firm. You got an existing established wireless brand with like 7 million customers, existing spectrum assets.
Network though.
Yeah, but like it's already built. It's already going. Yeah, there's maintenance and stuff. And there's continual operational things, but a lot of the work's already been done for them.
All right. Well, how much of a game changer would it be for the big three to get their spectrum? I would see a version of this where AT&T is getting the DoD, where they get maybe some of the AWS. I think Verizon would like to get involved with the AWS as well. The CBRS probably makes sense for them. I think AT&T is the 600, or excuse me, T-Mobile is the 600 megahertz. The band 71 goes there. I think if it's going to be divided and sold, that makes the most sense. But a private equity firm, like Max said, I think that's a little less likely. I don't think people are rushing to get into this business personally, but I guess the right price, the right person,
Yeah,
could happen. Like people are talking about like Peter Adderton taking over control of Boost.
yeah, that whole thing is weird. I don't understand how that would work. That's
Well, he's always going to be connected to Boost.
well, yeah, but like Mobile X and Boost as wireless operations
Well,
are completely incompatible.
Boost literally becomes a freaking Verizon MVNO at that point.
So then what was all this network? Well, I guess they're selling the spectrum then.
Yeah.
Boost has huge problems right now, and like I don't think people are talking about it enough because the FCC did this investigation, and everyone's like they're picking sides. Charlie has no friends. They're picking on Boost. They just missed a $326 million debt payment to the end. No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Yeah, they paid it.
No,
they paid it.
No, it ended at the end of May. It ended at the end of May. The grace period was towards end of June, and they didn't pay. Did they pay within the grace period?
Well, they ended up making a payment after Ergen met with Trump. I think the payment was made within a couple of days after that.
On that specific debt to the independent contractors?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
then that's something.
Yeah.
They've also been not following the Expanded Connectivity and Jobs Act for over a year and a half by not providing the broadband fax labels on their website. So they've been breaking that law for a while now.
Yeah, they've probably been letting them slide on that, haven't they?
Well, they were never set up to be successful anyway. They were always going to be like a shell company.
True. I mean,
yeah,
but like they could have had a chance if they weren't stupid back in like 2020 and 2021. If they had done what they did in 2024 back in 2020, I think the results would have looked different. I think we'd see growth from them.
They're what do they say? A day late and a dollar short.
Yeah.
Yo, Jason T with the super chat. He said, "Just got here. What if I don't have pockets? Well, then you must be wearing leggings if you don't have pockets."
Well, to say what? You ain't got no pockets, man? What's going on?
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
Hey, whatever floats your boat. I mean, man, it's 2025. Whatever you want to do.
Let's see here. Scrolling down. Okay, I didn't miss anything else. What up, Two Phones? Salute, Maine. Okay. All right, fair enough. Trying to think if there was anything else that was important. I do think that based on some of the language and the tones from the call, I think there might be some price ups in the future. I think there was a statement. I got to go back and listen, but it really sounded like Hans was trying to avoid it. Like he was trying to avoid talking about future plans. I'm talking about like actual like cell service plans. He said he didn't want to talk about it, which tells me like they've already started discussing or are working on the next generation of plans. So whatever the evolution of my plan is, like they're already working on that. So that would mean all of your current my plan offers are going to become legacy like within the next year. And then all the plans, Verizon will make them all legacy, which means you're not going to be price locked, which means they're going to pull the pricing lever. So Max, you might be onto something.
I mean, imagine that. Imagine a customer joins right now with the promise of a 3-year price guarantee, which is even if they honor it for 3 years, is still fake. But then they just decide, you know what, actually, we're going to remove you from that. So even the base rate of your service could also go up.
Max, do you know why the plans and postpaid aren't as great as they could be? It's because AT&T ain't doing shit. Like T-Mobile, like their plans took a step back. In some ways, Verizon's took a step forward, but there was some loss in value when they switched from, the get more, play more, do more. I like those plans. So in some ways they've regressed, but in other ways there have been ways to save money, right? So like Verizon's been kind of playing pretty good. AT&T is like the same shit for years. And like while the others were tweaking plans, they didn't do anything. They charged people an extra $1 and then gave them an extra 10 gigs of hotspot.
Yeah, that was about it. I think now they're just trying to throw discounts at people. Like, especially if you go through Costco, there's bill credits and there's discounts if you port in.
Which is fine, Max. We all love discounts, but we need the competition within the marketplace.
Yeah. Well, again, we always talk about how...
If you notice, you ever go to like a food festival or something where they do like all the food trucks?
Yeah.
Like, people want diversity.
That's true.
They want like 20 trucks that are all doing something different.
Right.
Where's the innovative thinking? Where's the uniqueness? Where's the flexibility? Like, that's why I say, like, Verizon with my plan was kind of cool. It was a platform. It was a way to kind of tweak and adjust and pick and choose. Meanwhile, T-Mobile's like, yeah, we're going to give you everything, but it's going to be $110. And then AT&T's like, well, we're going to charge you $1 more and give you 10 gigs of hotspot.
Right. Yeah. Well, and we've said this before, and we'll say it again. AT&T's strong suit is fiber, and Stanky's a wireline guy, and wireless, as far as competition is concerned, with AT&T, not as good. I guess the best thing they have for wireless is just the phone promotions. Like, new and existing customers, even on the lowest Your Way plan, could get good deals, and so they've got that going for them. But yeah, I see what you mean. Not to mention their billing system is atrocious.
Oh, it's the worst. We got a super chat from EM. Salute EM. On the topic of spectrum, Verizon should have purchased the 3.7 from US Cellular. If AT&T has their way with DoD, Verizon will be in the last in terms of mid-band holdings. I haven't looked at the exact calculations, but you're probably right. It would be very close. And I'm not sure how much that impacts Verizon within those pockets of the country. Maybe they looked at it from that perspective. They're really focusing on paying down debt. They're really focused on corporate action. They want to buy back shares and do those things. I just don't think they're trying to rush into moving, any type of additional debt. Maybe they're just being conservative. I don't know. But
I think
it would make a lot of sense.
Cost a lot of money. I mean, they bought, my understanding from the US Cellular transaction, they bought some low band, which is what they really, really, really needed. They're not hurting for mid-band spectrum right now. So at least that's what it seems to me. They're not hurting that space.
Yeah, so that seems like it makes sense.
Yeah, they seem to be punching where they need to punch. They needed low band spectrum and they got it. So if money was unlimited and customers were willing to pay $3 more without churning, maybe they would do a little more spending. But it seems to me, and Verizon, according to what Sneed said, they said it today, they're not in the business of hunting down every piece of spectrum that they can buy, because spectrum is wildly overpriced in this country. So I think Verizon has enough spectrum to compete. They already made the purchase that they made for US Cellular's low band spectrum, in addition to spending $50 billion. Like, I don't think people really truly understand how much money $50 billion is. Like, nobody else has paid that much for spectrum. So if, like, AT&T only paid 40, I mean, how much did it cost for T-Mobile to purchase Sprint?
30 some billion.
So let me make sure I understand. Verizon could have bought Sprint for less than they paid for C-band spectrum. Come on.
But that's what T-Mobile got. T-Mobile got 160 megahertz of 2.5. They got 40 million customers and 32 billion in debt.
For less than what Verizon paid for C-band.
Okay, so do the math again. 32 billion in debt, 26 billion for the company.
It costs 26 billion for the transaction. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I can't speak to the 32 billion. I'm sure you'll be able to explain it. But if the transaction cost was 26 billion, then it costs less to purchase an entire company than it did for Verizon to purchase imaginary air, like just imaginary.
Right, but they needed 3 banks to get the loan to pay for it. It was $60 billion.
Well, that's because T-Mobile was broke. They've been broke for a long time. That's not, I mean, okay, that's fine. But so all I'm pretty much saying, Sneed, is if you compare, like, Verizon just spent a ton of money. If I was them, I wouldn't be trying to do all this spectrum stuff right now either. You got to pay off. You got to pay off that too.
Yeah,
now, to the point, I'm not trying to negate what EM is saying, because I think it's true. But you got to draw the line somewhere, and you got to determine, what am I willing to spend on this type of asset, knowing that I have to buy other things too. They just bought Frontier, which is a ton of fiber, in order to continue to compete with it. Like, you can't just spend, like, Verizon is a connectivity company. Like, they sell wireless and fiber, and they just purchased a whole nother company as well. So it's not like they're just chilling. But I mean, I don't know. They're the leaders, and I guess they feel like they have enough spectrum to compete. They've
All
done
right.
this before. Like they've
Last one.
competed. Yeah, they've done this before. Go ahead.
Yeah, last super chat here from Green. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. That's the second of the night. Thoughts on band 14 and 4.9 aggregation for FirstNet. So band 14, obviously a low band. You got 10 megahertz. It's two sides, so downlink, uplink. The 4.9, I believe, is also going to be two-sided with downlink and uplink. It's a much higher frequency. It's probably going to have a limited power transmission. So I'm not sure how great it's going to be. It's going to be fast because it's 50 megahertz of bandwidth. And I mean, you're just going to put that on a network that already has capacity. It's going to perform just fine. We're going to have to wait for band 14 to go NR because 4.9 is going to be built NR. So that's going to have to take place first. But thanks for the super chat. Guys, that's it for the show. We got to wait for T-Mobile on Wednesday after market close. AT&T is before market open on Wednesday. I personally believe that they're going to have good quarters. Verizon had a good one. I think AT&T is going to knock it out the park. I think T-Mobile is going to do the greatest thing of all time, which is every time they do quarterly earnings, best quarter ever, best this ever, best that ever. It's going to be more of that. What do you guys think?
Can we talk about how every time Eugene does anything, whether he goes on an earnings call or whether he's doing a press event in front of stage, he's always choosing to wear long sleeve, like black zip downs. Like it almost seems like he's intentionally choosing those types of things to hide the armpit sweat.
I
mean, I'm saying
rocking the Gators crowd today. I could tell you that much.
Well, that's good. But like at this event they just did about how T-Mobile has the best network according to Ookla or whatever. It's like middle of summer, hottest days of the year, and he's wearing a black zip down long sleeve.
Yo, anything for the good of the order, guys?
I agree.
Just to remind everyone, all wireless and prepaid expos coming up in under a month.
Nice. We'll be scoping out your coverage, Max. And just so you guys know, I will be trying to get you guys back on the panel on Wednesday to discuss the final two for the earnings. You guys good with that Wednesday?
Yep. Whatever coverage you have, Max, I will support. I will watch. I will. I promise. I will watch.
B, didn't you say you and EM were going to pull up
to the expo? No, I'm not going to be able to attend, man.
No, are you sure Verizon's got a huge presence there?
Unfortunately, I wish I could. It would be great. I'm not going to be able to attend, though. Unfortunately, no.
All right.
But I will support your stuff. I will support if you decide to make content.
All right, everybody, check out Max's channel. Max, did you change your channel name officially?
Yeah, that was like end of last year.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, it was your first name and last name.
Max Ipis.
All right, so you guys check him out. I've linked his channel videos frequently. Great creator. We love Max, and he's always been such a gracious panelist here with us on our channel. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Thank you guys. B, what's up?
Sneed, you said .93 is your prediction for T-Mobile?
I think there's a version where they could be like .88 or .89 or as high as .93.
Okay. What about T? What about AT&T?
I think like .84, .85.
Okay. Yeah. I got them at .82. Verizon was .9. I think T-Mobile will be .93. Max, what do you think?
So AT&T probably like .85 or 86. T-Mobile probably .95 or .96.
Oh, sheesh.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna go a little high. All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. Be well. Thanks for everything.
Get out of here. See ya.
Appreciate it. Peace.